If we look at the lineup of Japanese manufacturers in the late 2000s, we won't find many sports cars, especially entry-level ones. A simple two-door ride with just the right power-to-weight ratio, engineered to make drivers smile. Even Toyota, a company that had around 10 models just 15 years ago, couldn't offer one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the 80s, Toyota set the benchmark with a car like this, the Hachiroku. The famous AE86 became a grassroots motorsport icon and set a new racing genre. It connected pure driving pleasure with everyday usability and didn't cost a fortune. By 2010, the lack of cars like this was so obvious that car enthusiasts started to get frustrated. So Toyota finally revealed the GT86. After a few concepts that were warmly accepted by enthusiasts, the car went into production in 2012 and crucially became global. 3 brands were selling the same car with just slight differences in options and colors: Toyota GT86, Subaru BRZ, and Scion FRS. All of them had the same appearance and technical features. A completely new car was created in collaboration with Subaru, featuring a longitudinally placed 4-piston boxer engine with a manual or automatic transmission sending power to the rear wheels. The weight was around 2640 pounds, 1200 kilograms, which wasn't quite the Hachiroku number, but was impressive for a modern car with its safety and comfort requirements. The suspension design included a McPherson in the front and a double wishbone in the rear, which was enough to keep the 200 horsepower coupe quite fun to drive. So that's the long story short about a not-so-ordinary Toyota, but still a production model. But we're all unicorn seekers here, right? And here she goes. The TRD 14R60. TRD made a plenty of signature GT86 versions, mostly exterior modifications, but 14R60 is still the most ultimate and desirable among 86 enthusiasts. It's a performance-tuned standalone model, and TRD produced only 100 units, which makes it extremely rare. There are 3 chapters in today's TRD GT86 story, and firstly, you've got to be acknowledged about the car it's based on. The Toyota TRD Griffon concept was introduced in 2013 in Tokyo and appeared at the Goodwood Festival of Speed the same year. TRD created this car as a research and development vehicle to push the GT86's potential as far as a stock FA20 could go. The pure, unhidden track tool was made with all efforts to show the base chassis abilities. The car got its own aero body kit with wide fenders to fit in some serious 18-inch forged wheels. Rear diffuser with a center-placed exhaust pipe was dedicated to optimize a ground airflow. A dry carbon fiber GT wing generated a significant downforce and allowed the team to adjust it to different track conditions. Besides all the smaller carbon fiber details, the Griffon got a trunk lid, hood, and even the roof made of carbon fiber. The chase for weight reduction didn't stop there, and continued with Lexan-made lightweight glasses all around except for the windshield. The engine stayed untouched, with the only real power modification being a straight titanium exhaust system. But the chassis got a significant upgrade with total spot welding all around, massive strut bars, and a set of racing KW 3-way adjustable coilovers. The interior was transformed into a motorsport office with a full bucket seat with Takata harness, Momo steering wheel, additional gauges, and replacing all the unnecessary stuff like the media unit and rear seats with carbon fiber panels. TRD developed the 86 Griffon as a track racer, keeping the road-going model's 200 horsepower boxer engine intact, but upgrading the rest of the components and, more importantly, shaving 500 pounds to bring the curb weight down to just 2,310 pounds. With significant weight reduction through the use of carbon materials, increased rigidity through spot welding added to the entire body, and aerodynamic devices refined through wind tunnel testing, it recorded a best lap of 1 minute 748 thousandths of seconds at Tsukuba circuit in March 2013. Since then, the team has continued to evolve the aerodynamic devices, strengthen the chassis, and add some power aiming to break the 1 minute mark at Tsukuba circuit with a naturally aspirated FA20. A year later, in 2014, a renewed version of this car hit the track. The car showed 2,160 pounds on scales, and the engine output increased to 230 horsepower. So finally, it set a 58-second time on the Tsukuba circuit with the same FA20 engine. Overall, the Griffon is a brilliant example of a time attack machine made in accordance with the technical requirements of a particular race class, and the one that can show off its achievements. After the Griffon had warmed up the scene, a production model was revealed, the 14R60. A total of 100 units were announced to be produced. As is customary on the island, it was for a local market only. The car was purposed for track use and featured a bunch of Griffon's parts on it. The name sounds tricky at first, but 14 stands for the model year, 60 means the 60-year anniversary of Technocraft, the TRD branch, and R in the middle clearly stands for racing. The exterior remained as aggressive as the Griffon's, with the same design bumpers, side skirts, and wide fenders. The rear diffuser with a mid-mounted exhaust, a carbon fiber roof, and fender side fins were left as well. The rear wing had the same shape but was set on swan neck mounting, still keeping adjustment options. The car was standing on a set of 18-inch forged magnesium wheels finished in matte black, wrapped in 235mm Bridgestone tires. Although the engine still delivers the same 200 horsepower, TRD added an intake with a high-flow air filter and an oil cooler. The 6-speed manual gearbox is paired with a lightweight flywheel, a high-performance clutch, and a quick short shifter. The chassis was also improved with a fully adjustable coilover set, a strut tower brace, a V-brace in the trunk, and altered bushings, as well as a limited slip differential. The brakes were smaller than the Motorsport Griffon's setup, which was excessive for a road car. The road model had 4-piston front and 2-piston rear fixed monoblocks, but still it was a huge step ahead of the stock GT86 ones. Inside, you get a cockpit with lightweight sport seats, carbon fiber trimmings, an Alcantara-wrapped steering wheel, as well as TRD-branded sills and floor mats. Where the rear seats used to be, you would find a carbon fiber panel, and since it's a lightweight track-oriented ride, you won't need an infotainment system. So, what's it like to drive the 14R60? Well, who better to ask than Keiichi Tsuchiya, the guy closely associated with the original AE86. His feedback was clear. The car feels much lighter and more rigid than an ordinary GT86. It's very easy to drive and has significantly better cornering performance with high-speed stability. All the modifications leave no doubt that this car deserves to carry the TRD name on it. All the 100 units were sold out quickly, with pricing starting at 6,300,000 yen, 3 times more than a base GT86. While the 14R60 was a track-focused but road-legal successor to the Griffon, the 14R, without the 60, was a totally civilian version. Compared to the 60 model, it had the same exterior but with fewer performance improvements, and many parts that were standard on the 14R60 were optional on the 14R. All the body aero features were the same, except for the bumpers, canards, and narrow front fenders. The same lightweight magnesium rims lost half an inch of width, and the tires were 225, so there was no need for rear fender arches. The carbon fiber GT wing was optional. Interestingly, TRD cars have some panels in the wheel wells that are different from a usual GT86, in dedication to airflow optimizing. The 14R had these too. The suspension was standard, but TRD adjustable coilovers, sway bars, and big brakes could be ordered for this model as an option. Under the hood, there wasn't anything very special, just a triangle-shaped upper strut and a group of TRD-labeled details like caps and an intake manifold cover proudly decorated with a Spirit of TRD Griffon concept badge. The interior was mostly normal with a bunch of TRD logos here and there, so as we can see, the 14R was an exterior copy of the 14R60 without any performance improvements, but it was almost 2 times cheaper. Price started at 3.8 million yen. The 14R wasn't announced as a limited model, and it's quite difficult to find any info about the exact production numbers, but it's still a rare car. As for parts, TRD offered a huge variety of them for any GT86, including the Griffon's heritage parts. Of course, original aero parts were quite expensive, but at least they were available for purchase, except for the carbon fiber roof. All the suspension mods, brakes, clutch, limited slip differential, and other hardware were ready to spice up your Toyota, Scion, or Subaru for some cash. So building your own replica is mostly a question of your personal wealth. But anyway, the original 14R60 is extremely rare, and it's obviously a collectible car now. I found just one currently for sale in Japan, and it's worth $40,000, which still looks like a good investment 10 years after its release. So if you'll be lucky to meet some right-hand driven GT86 with an uncommon factory aero kit, just pay attention to the 14R badge. It could be a true unicorn, a factory homage to the 58-second Tsukuba attacker, the Griffon concept. Hope you discovered something new and enjoyed this video, guys, and I would appreciate it if you share your personal opinion about the 14R60, how valuable you think it should be. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.